Well, thank you to the Little Falls Jazz One Ensemble, directed by Todd Peterson. If everyone could find their way to their seats here soon, our program will start shortly. Well, again, a huge thank you to Little Falls Jazz One Ensemble and director Todd Peterson. This 10th through 12th grade auditioned ensemble has a strong tradition of success, which is evident by their 27 straight years of receiving superior ratings at the section solo and ensemble contest. They also received the Best of Sight Jazz Group at the Spring Contest in 2022. And they recently auditioned and were selected to perform at the Minnesota Music Educators Association's Midwinter Classic later this school year. Let's have a round of applause for the Little Falls Jazz One Ensemble and Todd Peterson. Well, good. Welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure to have you all here at the 2022 MREA Awards ceremony. And a special welcome to all those tuning in to our live stream. We could wave at them, maybe? I'm Matt Schultz, the superintendent at Lanesboro Public Schools and current MREA president. I'm honored to be here tonight and excited to kick off this celebration of incredible award honorees. Before we get started, I want to extend a big thank you to our award sponsors, our Innovation Award sponsors in Gensa and Northland, and our Educators of Excellence Award sponsors, ICS and Baird, Whoever's here from our presenting members, can you please stand? We have some. Good. Thank you, sponsors. You truly do make this evening possible, and we're very grateful for that. Now I'm honored to introduce our MCs for this evening's award ceremony. Carla Beck is an MREA board member and also serves as the Director of Teaching and Learning at Redwood Area Schools. Carla's passion for rural education is evident in both her role at Redwood Schools and in her involvement in her family's agricultural operation. You likely already know Bob Indahar, MREA's Executive Director. Bob spent his career in rural education as a former teacher, principal, superintendent, most recently at Moose Lake Public Schools. Good luck tonight.
As we move into the awards ceremony, I want to take a moment to reflect on why we actually give these awards and why they're so very important. There are incredible things happening in our rural Minnesota schools. We want to recognize, celebrate, and honor greater Minnesota educators and districts who are going above and beyond and who create engaging and fulfilling experiences for every single student. Each year, MREA receives nominations from throughout each one of our regions for our Educators of Excellence, Innovation Program, and Distinguished Service Awards. The MREA Board of Directors reads each of the applications in detail to make some very difficult selections. I can tell you from reading through over 100 applications, Greater Minnesota is bursting with exceptional educators who believe that our rural students are worth investing in every single day. Perhaps you are sitting here and thinking about a program, a class, a teacher, an educator, or a project that is worthy of recognition by MREA. If so, applications for the MREA's 2023 awards will be open in January, so look for your MREA Insider Brief. Tonight, we're going to kick off the awards ceremony by honoring someone who has spent his whole career elevating rural Minnesota education.
Thank you, Carla. The Distinguished Service Award, MREA's Distinguished Service Award honors leaders working behind the scene and on the front lines to advocate for greater Minnesota students in rural education. This year, we're honoring Paul Marquardt, a state representative and teacher at Dilworth Public Schools. To honor Representative Marquardt, I'd like to invite to the stage Sam Walseth, MREA's Legislative Action Director, to give us a little insight into Representative Marquardt's dedication and service to rural Minnesota education. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, I have the privilege and honor to highlight Paul Marquardt and his successful career in the legislature. Paul is retiring after serving 22 years in the Minnesota State House of Representatives, where he was a steadfast supporter of public education, chief authoring several prominent advances in education funding. As chair of the House Education Finance Committee in 2013, Paul ensured full funding for all-day, everyday kindergarten was passed into law. During that same session, he pushed for the creation of a $300 per pupil board appeal levy aimed directly at closing the infamous widely fifth 95th education funding gap. Over the years, the $300 board levy has evolved into the profit program, significantly reducing that gap. In 2017, Paul
Thank you, Sam. Now we'll move on to our 2022 Innovation Program winners. Carla.
Each year, we ask MREA districts to nominate programs within their schools based on 4 basic criteria. Is it innovative? What makes this program unique? Is it benefiting students? And how do your students benefit from the program? Collaboration. Who did you work with to develop such a program? And ease of adaptability. How can this program be replicated in other Minnesota districts? The MREA Board of Directors has the difficult decision of evaluating these programs and choosing 2 award recipients. This year, we're honored to highlight 2 districts, Freshwater Education District and the Mesabi East District, for their innovative awards. So Bob, let's present the first one.
Okay, first we're going to congratulate Freshwater Education District for their program Bees, Produce, and Decor. What happens when you combine a beekeeper, an industrial arts teacher, and a forward-thinking staff together with students who are struggling to see high school graduation as a priority? This program started simply and developed into a comprehensive program where the students help grow the program with passions and interests that they have. Freshwater Education District Wadena ALC gives kids innovative, hands-on experiences to help encourage non-traditional student engagement and ultimately help more students graduate. Let's take a look at their video.
The program that we have here is the Freshwater Produce and Decor. The goal of the program is to have kids graduate from high school and to have those hands-on, authentic learning experiences.
My favorite thing is probably the plants and stuff, and just being able to build a lot with woodworking and the bees, probably.
We applied for a grant and we started out with 1 hive. We worked with making honey, and then we began to use that honey and put it for sale. We decided that we needed to have some flowers for the bees so that they could have somewhere to pollinate. We added other parts to the entrepreneur where the kids did things in the wood shop.
We've made birdhouses, American flags this year. We did wood signs for gardens. There's stuff doing in the classroom with laser engravers.
I've learned how to cut wood and how to paint better and to draw better.
The students have learned to be entrepreneurs. They have learned some business ideas.
The kids have built everything, including this area. We have shops outside, we have the greenhouse, we have the fencing. They have leveled all the dirt, they've shoveled the dirt, they've put a fence up. But the kids have learned so much.
I feel like it lets us learn about ourselves more, learn what we like and what we don't like, and to try new things.
The program is so special to me because it adapts to my learning abilities, so I can keep moving forward and learning, and I don't have to be held up like I was at the other school.
I think experiential learning is the best way to learn, to be able to experience all of these standards rather than read about them in a book and write about them.
They have a passion for something, we recognize it, and we run with it. It does motivate to come every day, to do the best that you can, to reap the reward of what you desire.
Wow, what an incredible opportunity for the students at Wadena ALC in the Freshwater Education District. Please join me in welcoming Heidi Haino to the stage. Heidi, can you come on up?
Thank you and good evening. On behalf of the Freshwater Education District, Wadena ALC, we would like to thank Minnesota Rural Education Association for honoring us with the Innovative Program Award. I have standing with me teachers Josh Hendricks and Janie Scoyne and support staff Missy Moore. Without their hard work to see it through, we would not be here this evening. Our vision came to life thanks to many donors, grants, the Freshwater Foundation, and support from our board and administration. Here with us tonight is student Brianna, who you saw in the video, with her parents, Mike and Rhonda. We have ALC specialist Jana Tim. A board representative Charlie Funk. And our freshwater superintendent Eric Weber. We are grateful that we have been given the opportunity to positively impact the learning of our students by implementing a hands-on innovative program. We continue to grow each year and are excited to turn more brainstorms into reality. Thank you.
Our second Innovation Program Award winner is Mesabi East Schools and their program, Mesabi East Environmental Education Center, which they've shortened to ME3C. ME3C started as a program for special education students to explore hands-on plant science and has since evolved into a public-facing, student-centered program that places emphasis on hands-on instruction and sustainability for pre-K through 12th grade students at Mesabi East Schools. Let's take a look at their video.
So Mesabi East Environmental Education Center started as an idea just to get students to understand how their food got to the table in front of them.
We have farmers markets, we have greenhouses where our students get to come and work. It's kind of a hub of a USDA farm to school program. We use a lot of products from our area and we buy from local vendors to serve in our cafeteria to our students.
I'm here 2 hours in the morning. We kind of do more of the flowers and like the decorations. Other times we're planting. It made me like flowers more because my mom gardens and whatever, and I was always like, oh, that's not that big of a deal, but now it made me really like it.
So I like coming here because the plants are very calming and get to be with the plants and makes it positive and I guess good vibes here.
Students learn a number of skills in the program. Some students may be learning how to mix soil. They are learning how to properly water a plant. Once they master it, they feel confident then that they can grow their own garden.
Has anybody grown a pumpkin before?
Last year, ME3C's sales exceeded over $30,000. As a business, those students are not only learning customer relations, they're learning about handling cash, counting back change, how to properly price items.
I think one of the skills that the students get from working with this program is kind of working with each other. We have older students working with younger students, and just them getting to work with each other and understand the responsibility of their role as a role model to these little kids.
I like when the little kids come here. That's probably my favorite part. And I want to be a teacher when I'm older, so this kind of helps a lot with being patient. We got to be leaders. The program is probably my favorite part about high school, and we have a lot of fun here.
I've heard it numerous times where they can say, it's so calm here, I can relax. And when they come back and they see something that they planted maybe a week ago and it's starting to sprout, 2 months later they have full bloom. They can see that success. The leadership abilities that these students gain takes them into their life and into their future education as well.
words from the students in this video reflect what we all want to hear from each one of our students in our own schools. This is the best part of coming to school. To help celebrate this award with Mesabi East, please welcome Rachel Doherty to the stage. Congratulations, Rachel, and your program.
Thank you. We, from the bottom of our hearts, are very appreciative of this award. It's hard to believe that this all started by showing a few students how to plant a seed so they could see where their food came from. It has been almost 6 years since Mesabi East Schools had the progressive idea to turn a floral and greenhouse business that had recently closed in our hometown into Mesabi East Environmental Education Center. During this time, students have learned so much more than just planting a seed. Students have held very successful full operation spring plant sales. They've increased productivity in their student gardens. They've become agripreneurs. They have learned customer service, business, and marketing skills. Classes in art, STEAM, culinary arts are now embedded into the program. But more than this, special education students have become leaders amongst their peers. High school students have become mentors for elementary and early childhood students. Most of all, our community has become a large support system for the program. While our students have learned to become members of their own community, I would like to thank the Mesabi East School Board for taking an out-of-the-box approach to foster a place for hands-on learning. To our administration, who continuously supports the program. To my assistant, Tammy Roysef, who is willing to try new ideas and approaches. To Nikki Swanson, who is here with us tonight as well, is a wonderful public information liaison and keeps our community well informed. And most of all, I'd like to thank my husband, who has encouraged me continuously to push myself and make ME3C a leader for student and community education. Mesabi East Environmental Education Center is growing our future. Thank you.
Congratulations again to the Freshwater Education District and Mesabi East on their Innovation Awards. We know that there are so many schools doing innovative work, and we're so lucky to have such great programs and educators who show our students innovation and progress. Carla, why don't you talk a little bit about Educators of Excellence?
MREA also celebrates Educators of Excellence. These educators continually go above and beyond for their students and their colleagues. Each of these educators demonstrates the core 4 criteria: positive impact on students and student achievement, leadership in their school, their district, and in their community, innovative and creative instructional practice that impact all students, and collaborative efforts with fellow educators, parents, families, and in their community.
Okay, first from the North Zone, Courtney Shervin, a technology teacher at Thief River Schools, Challenger Elementary. When you walk into Courtney's library, now turned into a media classroom, you'll notice a buzz of energy, an air of excitement and anticipation from his elementary students. Courtney took a role that didn't exist a few years ago and turned it into an experience for his elementary students where they learn real-life STEM and technology skills. They regularly get experts from the rural communities who come in and share their experiences. Visiting his school and his classroom, you can see the excitement the students have for his class. Let's watch Courtney's video.
Going to Mr. Shervin's classes may be one of my favorite parts.
He is driven to help kids, and that's what a successful teacher is. Somebody who's passionate and loves what they're doing.
Do you see that electrician? What is he doing? Yeah. I've always enjoyed working with kids. Decided to go into teaching, and I spent my first year in 5th grade, 17 years in 1st grade, and then this opening or opportunity came about. The advice I got from our principal, Mr. Moralt, was, well, just go slow and make it your own.
When we gave Courtney this opportunity, he took it and ran with it. There was no curriculum, there was no budget. He had to start it from the bottom up.
It was kind of an exploratory first year. The big thing is bringing these business entities in, saying, okay, what do we need kids to learn? I said, okay, if I'm going to be able to teach kids at the level I want them to get to, I'm going to need some of this professional help. And I just started reaching out.
He loves having people come in and tell about what they build and stuff. We get to learn a bunch of new things that we'd never learned before in media. I like when we get to use like technology.
I incorporate technology in a way that connects with careers and kids' futures. Today, you are going to pretend to be electricians. You will be putting in lights. You know, it's not just stuck on their iPads. It's, you know, something where they can hold something in their hand that they've created themselves.
He lets us be creative with our stuff. Like some teachers give you what you have to build, but he tells us that we can make whatever we want with it. He helps us when we don't really understand what to do.
Here. Okay, now turn it around. Yeah, flip it around. Okay, now put it back on. You know, I'm not so much focusing on mistakes, but just saying, hey, is there a different way that you can do that? Or something didn't work out, let's backtrack and see, you know, where that mistake happened and identify it.
It's amazing how kids receive how he is in the classroom. He's loud, boisterous, excited about it, and that just flows right into our students.
When we walk in, we're always like, what are we doing today? It's really exciting.
Press it. Oh! Did it work? Yeah, now you try it.
Courtney loves what he's doing. He really enjoys seeing the kids be successful and watching the growth that they've made.
I think Mr. Shervin should get an award because he's a great teacher. He's really nice, and I really think he deserves the award.
I just kind of feel like I'm accepting this award as part of a team. This award is just a tribute to what everybody in this school is doing.
It's really fun to see the excitement on those kids' face. Courtney, can you come on up and accept your award?
That was my daughter, Harper. When I emailed Diane and said, you know, what am I supposed to say in this speech? I don't want to act like I'm winning an Oscar or something like that. She said, make it an Oscar, only Minnesota style. So I thought I needed a pretty young lady to escort me on the stage, like in the Oscars. So, a lot of what I was going to say was in my video. I probably should have paid a little bit more attention to that, but just kind of, part of my speech is, I've got two of the same sheet, but just kind of talking about my program. Like Patrick had said in the video, you know, I got this job. Sherry Miller, our science teacher, kind of said, hey, you know, our library instructor is moving on, and we want to kind of tweak some of the things going on in there, and you're the perfect person for that choice. And I said, no, I'm not. You know, 18 years in a classroom, you know, a lot of time in first grade. I was moving to fourth grade because my back was getting a little sore from tying all those shoes and stuff. So, you know, it's 18 years in one spot and then move twice in a summer was a little bit daunting. But the more her and I talked, the more I talked to Patrick, it did seem, you know, like a natural fit for me. And, you know, we kind of got rolling. That first day I went in there, I said, okay, what kind of technology do we have? Now, we do have one-to-one iPads, which are great, but we had nothing else. And I was able to track down some old Spiro robots where half of them, the batteries are bad. So I started writing grants, and I started reaching out to people. And we have 30-some partnerships now that have either donated their time and expertise or they've donated technology. We have just an amazing education foundation in Thief River. I don't know how much I have received or our students in my program have received, but I think we're over $40,000, $50,000. So we have one of the most outstanding education foundations in our state. I do want to backtrack for a second. On the front page that I don't have right here, I do want to take just a second to honor Irvin Peterson. He was the superintendent of schools when I first started teaching, and he is the past president of the MREA. And a few years ago, 2006, almost 20 years ago, a group of us came down to honor him because he was receiving an award, or he's the outgoing president so long I can't remember. But he passed away in 2020, and he is an individual that, you know, if he's involved in the MREA, you know, the MREA is a great place because he was such a wonderful mentor and just a personable gentleman and just a perfect leader to start my career. You know, he was somebody who just positive, he would give you the shirt off his back and just really involved in the community. So I'm going to see if I can catch up here a little bit on some of the things. We really, like I said, it's kind of, we're in our second, third year, so I'm still trying to figure out what technologies are fitting in different places, and my main focus is teaching kids to be motivated. You know, we have a lot of kids these days that just don't quite see a purpose. They don't know what's going to happen the next day. They you know, something might be going on in their home life or something like that where they're coming into school and they just don't make a connection. So I'm using technology more as a vehicle to motivate them, to say, hey, you might not have been successful in that last spelling test, but you can build a robot or you can design with 3D printers. So that doesn't mean you're stronger in one area than the other. That shows that you can learn if you're motivated. And if you just adapt, you can be successful, and we're here to work with you. You know, so technology sometimes gets a bad rap. I actually called my program more of a STEM program the first year because when I was in school, technology meant spreadsheets, word processing, you know, keyboarding, all of those areas, which are important, but it's aging me a little bit too, but it wasn't the most exciting thing. So every technology that we use is a vehicle to the future. It's a vehicle to learn. It's a vehicle to problem solve and to build social skills and all those kind of areas. And kids are just running with it. You know, I'm noticing, you know, the robotics, the drones, those areas are great, the electricity, you know, but a lot of kids are just buying into that design and production areas, the 3D printing, the graphic design, the video editing. I got a bunch of girls came in right away at the beginning of the year and said, we need photography. We want to do photography. And I got to think, how did I not think of photography? You know, you can embed photos into everything. And we have a professional photographer in our school, more than one, and she's fantastic. So we're hoping to secure some money. We've written some grants to get some higher end cameras with the removable lenses, and I don't know anything about them, so she's going to teach me. But then kids can come, you know, go take pictures. Teachers can request those things. And I'm noticing too, you know, our 3D printers are running all day, every day, 8-10 hours a day. And they're making things for other people. You know, everything is, I'm going to make this for this teacher. I'm going to make this for my mom. This is a Christmas ornament I'm making for my grandma. You know, when you have that purpose, and then when they bring that to that teacher, they're absolutely hooked. And they know in their mind, I created something at a professional quality. And we're hoping to transform to the point where we're selling things and stuff like that, like these two entities are, because that's going to further our program too. And then we can incorporate some of those business models and things like that too. So we're very excited on those ends. I'm sure my time is kind of running out, but just a few thank yous because it is an Oscar, Minnesota style here. But I'd like to thank my wife, Joni. Not only does she support me and she puts up with my craziness when I'm gone at the school or I'm up at 4 in the morning working on something crazy, she doesn't really judge me too much. And you know, we have a lot of great conversations because she has taken her career to the next level at DigiKey, and we're able to talk about, you know, what she deals with leadership and some of her ideas, and I'm able to incorporate some of that with my students. My 3 girls, Harper, who you met or saw, Addie, our 5-year-old here, and Chloe, our 12-year-old. Thank you guys for being supportive and letting me bounce some ideas off. And this, when you come in my classroom after school, trying to be a little bit quiet. Harper last year introduced a hoverboard to the library for the first time, so that was kind of fun. We're kind of breaking some of those library traditions or whatever. My parents, Corey and Julie, are here. They taught me how to work hard, but they also taught me to care for people. My dad was gone many nights, as a kid. Where's he? Well, he's helping this old lady from church fix her drain field, or he's over mowing somebody else's lawn. And the heart to serve. My mom would take care of some elderly people that were neighbors that didn't have family around, and I learned how to help people from them. So I appreciate them. Next I have to help my students. If we weren't getting results, if they weren't excited, those two young ladies up there really did a nice job. I hadn't heard that before, and not a crier, but that was very touching. Deanna Forst, who is my library assistant, I guess. She kind of runs the library, but I could not do what I do without her. I see every student at Challenger once a week, and it's usually 2 classes at a time. So there might be 50, 60 kids in there at once, and without her, I couldn't do it. And she's a lot better at remembering names than me, so I can ask, what's his name again? And she's able to tell me. My administration, Patrick, who we kind of mentioned, but Sarah Olson too, who is here, Holly as well, but Sarah is kind of my right-hand person. She's very professional, she's an administrator, so when we do meet with people, I can't make a whole lot of decisions. So she's there saying this will work, this won't, and kind of settling me down and saying, hey, you got to let them talk too. So it's great to have her as an ally. Like I said, the Ed Foundation is absolutely fantastic. I couldn't do it without them. I've already submitted another grant, and I'm getting braver and braver, and they don't usually say no. They might say, we got to wait a little bit here, to secure some funds, but they are fantastic. Enbridge Energy donated $7,000 for robotics for us, and then all of our business partners. I had a couple stories here to tell, but I could tell you personally if you want to hear some of them, because I know I'm going a little bit long. And then all the staff and the teachers at Challenger, I really accept this on their behalf. My program is flashy. After leaving an elementary classroom, especially a primary classroom, I have a higher respect for what they do. Those first grade teachers, those kindergarten teachers, they are with kids 7-8 hours a day, and they're keeping them in line and motivated, and they work hard. I really enjoy my gift of time and a little bit of flexibility now, after experiencing that, but I have a deeper respect for what they do. So I would like to also thank the MREA. I don't know if I did right away, but thank you so much. You are, like I said, Irv Peterson taught me that you are a wonderful entity. The first time I came down, I was very impressed, forgot a lot about it, but it's coming back to me here. So I would like to thank you all. Appreciate it.
The other way, I was told to go the other way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Courtney, for being an educator of excellence. Carla, why don't you tell us who we've got in the North Zone?
Thanks, Bob. In our North Central Zone, we have Dave Perry. Dave stands out as an educator of excellence because he wears many hats at Cloquet Area Alternative Education Program. Listen to this list. He is a social studies teacher, he is a special education teacher, and he is the restorative practices coordinator. That sounds like a big job to me. In an alternative learning center where student engagement rates are often low and conflict is often high, Dave Perry brings an approach to the Cloquet School District that embraces tribal tradition while maximizing student engagement. Let's take a look at Dave's video and see what he's all about.
Dave's a great teacher just because of his personality. He cares about every kid in the school. You could have the wildest dreams on earth and he'd say, go for it, He'll support you every step of the way.
See where you can get, and I'll stop back in and check it out, okay? I'll go check in with these guys.
He has more than one role around the school. He's the special ed teacher, he's the social studies teacher, he's the restorative practices coordinator, and then on top of that he has all these other things to do, and I feel like that's where he's different, is he's around a lot more.
Children are the most intuitive people on the planet, and when they meet Dave, you can just see it in their eyes right away. They have trust. And to be able to just build that trust with kids from the get-go is huge. It's all about relationship building. And Dave naturally has that gift.
Never thought that this would be the role that I would have as a teacher. I had no idea, but that's the route you take. And if I could look back and see where my path would have led me, I probably would have stayed on the same path. Most of these kids that come here, right, they're lost in some way. And I like to get to know a kid on their level. I treat every student as if that student were my favorite. And in doing that, you develop a unique relationship with each student. What I like to see is a kid who has got that hood, and all you see is about this much of him or her, and all of a sudden that hood comes off. It might take a week, it might take 5 months, but all of a sudden we see who that person is above the neckline. If I had a hand in that, that's awesome. I don't have to be the only one that's making connections, because there are some really good educators in this school that do the same thing that I do in a different way. I'm just luckier that I can do it almost every day with more people.
One huge way that Mr. Perry has changed this program and lives of many students is through restorative practices. Restorative practices is a sacred practice that was passed from the Indigenous community, and we utilize it here at CAPE for relationship building, for connection, to repair harm. And since we began restorative practices, our behavior referrals have been cut more than in half. And Mr. Perry he's a huge part of that.
Students follow Dave's lead because he is real, he's honest, he walks the talk. He shows up.
You can feel the way you want about school. I'm glad you're here.
He is a role model for the students at CAPE, and he's a role model for adults. He's a role model for this community because he shows up.
Dave lets me know, like, hey, you're doing good. I'm proud of you. And that's like, it makes you feel good having somebody be proud of you for something that you did. I want Dave to know that he's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm graduating on time this year.
I hope that I helped make it more comfortable for them to be here, that they felt supported by me, that they knew when they had an issue, they sought me out, and I could help them move along, and maybe they'll think back upon us, or maybe they won't. But at least we got them to where they were supposed to be, and that's where I want to be in their mind, that I helped them get there.
Said in the video, it's all about relationship building, and Dave Perry naturally has that gift. I don't know you, Dave, but I've seen your video, and I think that's absolutely true. Please welcome Dave to the stage as he accepts our MREA Educator of Excellence Award.
Skol Vikings! I wasn't able to watch the game, but my phone was blowing up on the drive here. So I was glad to see that they won in such a unique way. Just glad to see that they won. It's quite an honor in accepting this award. And I'd like to first thank the MREA for 35 years of excellence in supporting educational opportunities in Greater Minnesota. I'd like to thank the Cloquet School District for maintaining superior standards and for the ways they support students. I certainly would not be accepting this award if I did not work with the most dedicated people, CAPE teachers and support staff. These folks are motivated to work with students who truly need this staff to provide them the best combination of standards-based instruction, to support them in credit recovery, and base all of this in formal and informal, in-the-moment, social-emotional learning. I want to thank Lorraine and Paul Mickelson, Carrie Manty, and those excellent practitioners within the Restorative Justice Program at Carleton County for assisting us in implementing restorative practices at CAPE. RP has been a game changer for us, particularly with grounding our teaching in relationship building and staff and student accountability. I would truly be remiss in not thanking the best administrator I have ever seen, Connie Hyde, for taking a chance on me to develop and run a special education Setting 4 program with little to no experience, but providing me with Misty, Jackie, Diane, Brenda, Mason, and Eric, superior people from Connie on down, who comprise the heart and backbone of that program. I also need to thank my awesome life partner, Kay Mary, for coming along at the exact time I began working in the Setting 4 program. Somehow she and Connie are linked, as my life has gotten infinitely better since both of them came on board. Lastly, I need to shout out to my daughters, Annalise and Lauren, my sisters Sharon and Trish, my parents Jim and Carol, who I believe are watching via the online link right now. Without them, I am also not in this moment. Special thanks to my mom, who, with nearly 40 years of experience in education, became the best teacher I know, and the true educator of excellence in our family, and someone who changed tenure law in this state. Oh yeah, and this award is dedicated to all the students and student ambassadors I had the pleasure to work with, converse with, hang out with, and learn from through all these years. Can I have that? This is for you.
I wouldn't mind being in that classroom with that energy. That's great. So thanks, Dave. Bob, who do we have up next?
Next, we'll meet an educator from our South Central Zone whose energy will inspire you. Jennifer Mars is a business and digital media teacher at Morris Area Public Schools. Playing teacher as a child, Jennifer has a passion for teaching that her students can see and feel every day. She is a high-energy teacher who kids can talk with easily. She helps students grow by caring for them inside and outside of school. Her classroom is filled with an aura of optimism, energy, and genuine care as students learn real-life business skills. Let's take a look at Jenny's video.
Miss Mars is a teacher. She's very happy. She always is happy to see you. She always wants to talk to you.
I honestly love the things you learn in her classes. I think they help you with life after high school. She's my teacher, but at the same time, she kind of feels like a school mom. She's someone we can go to talk to, not just about school, but like life problems we're having.
Absolutely give each other some love. Hug it out if you have to, for goodness sakes. Like, I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I knew what teaching was. I was the kid who rushed home off the school bus and continued to play school until it was supper time. I just think in the ever-changing world that we live in, where kindness is needed more, I have the perfect stage every day to bring that to life as a teacher. And I guess I can thank my 5-year-old self that I can make dreams work. And it's just really cool to see it every day within these 4 walls. They're all over there, I promise. They're beautifully lined up for you. Create is the theme of my classroom. We're constantly creating things, whether it's financial statements or green screen projects or everything in between. And on day 1, we talk about how before I can teach them anything, we need to establish that culture. And I want them to not only see the word, but feel it. And so understanding that we treat people with kindness. I take care of them as people and expect them to do the same for me. And the teaching and student roles just happen so much more naturally when they know I've got their back as people.
Kids aren't going to care until they know how much you care. And Jenny's very good at letting kids know that when they come to her classroom, they're accepted, they're respected, and she has high expectations, but with that, they get to learn a lot and have a lot of different opportunities.
Her class is something I always look forward to. So if I'm having a rough day or things just aren't going right, when I get to her class, I enjoy it. It can flip my day around.
The most precious gift that a teacher can earn is watching those children leave and make an impact, and that they remember me. I always joke with them that, I taught you about investments, and if it goes well, please fly me to your private island via your private jet. Remember little people like me, and they always are quick to say, oh, you're not a little person. You've made a big impact. And it's the most precious gift I can get as a teacher.
Jenny, why don't you come on up and accept your award?
short commute to school each morning epitomizes what it's like to live and work on the prairie in Minnesota. On any given day, my view really could be a postcard for rural life. The sun is usually peeking up over the horizon, shedding the first morning light on cattle grazing in the pasture. As I look to the east, fog is rising over the Pomme de Terre River as flocks of geese fly overhead. And as I look to the west, our beautiful school sits amidst the prairie and the cornfields. The only reason traffic would come to a standstill would be to make room for a farmer passing through with their harvest equipment, or for the deer who's brave enough to cross the roadway. How blessed are all of us in this room tonight who live, work, and raise families in settings much like I just described, where the grass and the dirt and the gravel all meet, that feeds our souls, where the blacktop ends. Now, if you think that sounds like a country song, it is. Songs have been written, stories have been told, and others yearn for the quiet country, much like the communities we all traveled from tonight. In this season of gratitude and Thanksgiving, I'm feeling very blessed that the Minnesota Rural Educators Association was drawn to my rural story at Morris Area High School. I am both honored and humbled to serve along the other MREA Educators of Excellence nominees to share the very important stories from our rural classrooms and schools throughout Minnesota. I'm blessed with students who flood into my business classroom every day, who are drawn to the practical nature of the dynamic, hands-on curriculum which points toward their future at every turn. I'm thankful for my administrators and my school board members who trust my creative and bold ideas, never letting me plateau or sit still long enough to collect dust. I'm grateful for the collaboration between my colleagues and community members who work tirelessly to build beautiful learning opportunities for all of our students. Whether it's helping coordinate a toy drive for this upcoming holiday season or hosting an unprecedented career day for nearly 300 people, our community is drawn to partnerships that stem from the school. And finally, the gratitude I have for my family is really hard to sum up into words. For most of my youngest years, my parents allowed for our spare bedroom in our home to be my humble first classroom, where I played school for hours and knew at a very young age teaching was for me. Fast forward to my husband and kids. John does his married to a teacher role oh so well and is forever hauling stuff in and out of my classroom. He's come to understand how my Amazon purchases and my yet another trip to the grocery store is somehow tied creatively to my curriculum and will no doubt brighten a student's day. Our kids, Ethan and Claire, embody what it means to be teachers' kids. They come early and they stay late at school. They too are always hauling. And it comes full circle when as a sophomore, our son Ethan chooses to take his mom's business classes and is equally as excited that at age 10, our daughter Claire already knows she wants to be a teacher someday. I'm truly thankful, grateful, and blessed to be a business teacher in a rural school. So as for that postcard of small town USA, what does yours look like? What stories are you collecting, developing, and sharing on your postcard? My challenge in this room tonight is that everyone does not take for granted their rural Minnesota stories that truly begin where the blacktop ends. Thank you.
I would like you to call each one of our spouses and explain those Amazon purchases to them. If you could do that, I'll talk to you later. Last but certainly not least, we celebrate Jacob Johnson, an industrial technology teacher, basketball coach, and bus driver at Windham Area Public Schools. Jacob Johnson instills values known as the keys that unlock success within his students that they can carry through their whole lives. Wearing many hats at the Windham High School, Johnson models hard work and dedication for his students every day. Let's take a look.
I'd say that Mr. Johnson, he's a really good teacher. Every single student he's nice to, no matter who it is.
Mr. Johnson has fulfilled a number of roles from, he's coaching D squad baseball, our head girls basketball coach. He's taken on the role of driving a bus lately and instilling that Eagle pride in everything he does.
He's the coach and teacher that asks you like how your life is going, what'd you do over the weekend.
Always a good time when he's driving the bus. Some karaoke happens sometimes. He brings out the best by just pushing us to our limits and always trying to make us better. He's very encouraging and positive, and just pretty much all of the messages that I've been taught from Johnson, I'll just remember for the rest of my life.
His students know that they can count on him to hold them accountable, but also they're going to learn. When you go in his classes, the students are constantly engaged, and Mr. Johnson has created an atmosphere where our students can be successful at all times.
How'd the track meet go yesterday?
It was amazing.
Was amazing?
Yeah.
I love my job here. I love getting to work with kids and getting to see them smile. I like standing in the hallways before school and greeting everybody when they come in. I grew up on a dairy farm, so my parents were always working and inspired me to have a strong work ethic.
It just shows how much he really cares, just all of his effort that he puts into everything he does.
The typical school day can be very long. There'd be days in the winter that, it might start at 6 a.m. and get done at midnight, but it's super rewarding when you see the kids have success, not only in class here, but with activities in basketball.
I think that speaks to some pretty special characteristics of a human being to give that much of themselves to students.
I love what I teach because it allows me to work one-on-one with kids and hands-on activities out in the shop and get to know them better. Getting to know them well and figuring out what really drives them is something that's super important to me as a teacher.
He always teaches us the keys every year that we come. Those things will, help you in life.
Don't forget your keys. I tell them the keys that I'm going to give them are in plain sight at all times, and they're the 10 keys that unlock success. We've been able to give kids a really unique experience at school, real-world hands-on learning in the classroom, and get to interact with people in our communities.
Where we've gone in just 2 short years, to me, is nothing short of exceptional. It's one thing to put the program in place, but to have the person with the passion to see that program be successful is what's been really amazing with Mr. Johnson.
And this isn't something that I would have been able to do if I didn't have high-quality kids in here.
He's extremely dedicated to his work and to coaching. You can just tell how much time he puts in and how much effort there's there. He really cares about his players and the students.
I just love working with kids and getting to see kids work at their passion and experience success.
Mr. Johnson's student commented that he pushes them to their limits and makes them strive to do their best. And that is a great example for each of us to do each day. Will you please welcome Jacob to the stage to accept his award?
Well, it's the eve of girls basketball season in the state of Minnesota. The first practices for the 22-23 season are going to start tomorrow. So that's kind of a stressful time for me. And I'm thinking back to my first year as a coach. We had some kids quit right before the season started, and I kept having this dream. The first day of practice, you show up 6 a.m., you roll the balls out, turn the lights on, and nobody shows up. But thankfully, that didn't happen that first year, and kids have shown up every single year since then. And I've been extremely, extremely lucky to have great kids. And I think that's what this award means, is I've just been really lucky to have great kids, whether it's coaching or teaching. And the success that the Eagle Path Manufacturing program has had is all just those kids, and I'm just lucky to be a part of it. There's a bunch of people I'd like to thank tonight. The first being our high school principal, Brian Joyce, who nominated me. Feels weird calling him Brian because Mr. Joyce was my 7th grade social studies teacher in his first year at Windham, and he was somebody that really inspired me. I had him several times throughout my career as a student at Windham, and somebody that helped me choose the path of education. The next person I'd like to thank is my high school basketball coach, Dane Nielsen. He was somebody that he demanded your best, but he still knew how to make it fun. And somebody who's been just a tremendous mentor to me and a great role model. I'm still striving to be like him, and he was a big part of talking me into getting into teaching and talking me into moving back to Windham. Next, I'd really like to thank our staff at Windham area schools in our community. There's so many other teachers at our school that are much more deserving of this award, but I've just been incredibly lucky. Early in my career, our community passed a referendum that allowed us to expand our CTE lab and make a program like that possible. Then we had several businesses in town that let me come in and do training there so I could better serve our students. Windham's a really special place, and I'm really glad to be from there and back there teaching. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, I'd like to thank my parents. Like the video said, they're dairy farmers. So it's tough for them to get out and go places, so thank you to my brother who's milking cows tonight. But they taught me very important values, and the most important one was work ethic, seeing them get up every day and milk cows 7 days a week, twice a day. And, you know, being a kid, I think you grow up and you want to be like your dad. But for me, I hated milking cows. So I've tried with this career to treat it like being a dairy farmer and not being afraid to get up at sunrise and work till sunset and work extremely hard. And it's been the most rewarding thing ever, and I've been super lucky to have great kids in my classes and get to work with great coworkers. Thank you.
Wow, what incredible educators we have in Greater Minnesota. In MREA's mission, we talk about being a champion for equitable access to high-quality educational opportunities for all rural students and schools. Today, we highlighted some of the high-quality programs and teachers that rural Minnesota has to offer. We collectively need to be a positive voice for public education. There is inspiring, high-quality education happening in rural Minnesota public schools. Let's be proud and loud about that. If you'd like to nominate an educator or an innovative program for the 2023 MREA Awards, watch your Monday morning Insider Brief for details. A huge thank you again to our award sponsors who make these incredible videos happen. This doesn't just happen. These businesses put their money where their mouth is. They support rural education. Our Innovation Award sponsors are Ingenza and Northland, and our Educator of Excellence Award sponsors are ICS and Baird. Thank you. Carla, why don't you close us out here?
As a member of the MREA board, I want to say thank you for joining us in recognizing our 2022 honorees. Following this banquet, please join us poolside for dessert, coffee, and a cash bar immediately following this ceremony. This is also a time for you to connect and reconnect with educators who value the work we are doing together in rural Minnesota schools. A few housekeeping details. If you did not check into the conference before the banquet, you can do so until 8:30 p.m. during this evening's poolside reception down by the pool. Breakfast, sponsored by Kraus Anderson, will be served in the dining room tomorrow morning from 7 to 8. MREA is excited to kick off the Educational Summit tomorrow morning at 8:15 with a keynote speaker, Ben Winchester, and that will be right back here in the event center. So enjoy your evening. Enjoy each other's company. We'll see you in the morning, and I think we need to do one more skål. Have a great night.